So there's this article called 10 Rules of Chivalry Every Guy Should Know But Doesn't. Now, just the title alone is already offensive. It implies that guys don't know how to be chivalrous. Meanwhile, I see it all the time. I see guys practicing chivalry constantly, and I put chivalry in quotations because really chivalry is slavery, just under a different name. But basically what I want to do is I want to read you this article and give you my comments on it. 10 Rules of Chivalry Every Guy Should Know But Doesn't. And who is it by? Apparently it's by the Etiquette Girls. It's not even G-I-R-L-S. It's G-R-R-L-S. Wow. That's all I have to say about that is wow. Yes, lots of these things may seem outdated to your post-modern ears. Well, no shit. Chivalry started in the Middle Ages. In case you haven't noticed, it is no longer the Middle Ages. How about we focus on what's fair and equal in the present time? Let's give that a try, huh? However, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be doing them. Really? Why? Why should we still be chivalrous? Why should we be treating women with extra special treatment simply because they are women? How come we are not treating them like equals? Why is that so unheard of? Vintage clothing is by its very nature outdated too, and the EGs still wear it with pride. Yeah, because that's the same thing. Nice try at an analogy and failing miserably. So are you suggesting that everybody should be wearing vintage clothing? I don't think you are. But you are, however, suggesting that all guys should follow chivalry. Follow all these rules for chivalry. Vintage clothing is a choice. If you chose to wear vintage clothing, then it's your choice. If you don't want to wear vintage clothing, you won't wear it. You EGs, you wear your vintage clothing or whatever the hell it is you want to wear. But that's a choice. You are saying that chivalry should be followed by every guy. Those are two completely different things. Nice try, though. And we are quite bored with the argument of, if I don't understand why it's customary, I don't have to do it. It's funny how you're saying you're sick of that argument, yet you have no rebuttal for it. You have no response for it other than you're just sick of it. Yeah, of course you're sick of it. You're sick of arguments that you can't defend against. You don't like it and you're tired of it because you have nothing to say about it. That is just laziness disguised as semantics. No, it's just an argument for which you have no response. Why do boys need to remove their hats indoors? The only reason you need is because the EGs said so. Oh, okay. Makes a lot of sense. We should all just be mindless drones following the code of chivalry without questioning how it's actually unfair to men and how it's really just slavery. Sounds fair. And without further ado, here are the 10 Rules of Chivalry, brought to you by the Etiquette Girls. Polite boys stand when a girl enters the room and when she departs. Actually, everyone, regardless of gender, should stand when an elder or a very important person enters or leaves. So the only times you should stand up whenever a man enters or exits a room is if he's an elder or considered to be very important. If you're a young man who isn't considered to be very important, this doesn't apply to you. However, all a girl has to do is be female. Young, old, important, unimportant, doesn't matter. You're supposed to stand up simply because of her gender. Boys should open doors for girls. And apparently girls don't have any kind of obligation whatsoever to hold open the door for a boy. I mean, she could, of course, choose to do it, but there's no obligation for her to do so. I don't know why boys should have to hold open doors for girls if they're perfectly capable of doing so themselves. Anyway, they go on to say, please actually hold the door for the girl, instead of merely flinging it open and running through, leaving her to sprint through before it slams. What, she can't just grab the door before it closes? Do you think she's incapable of actually holding the door open for herself? Really? Open the door and step to the side while the girl passes through, perhaps saying, after you, if she hesitates. At this point, the girl should politely thank the boy. He then says, you're welcome, and when she is through the door, he goes through it himself. See, this is quite simple. Yeah, it's simple, but that doesn't mean that it's right. I mean, isn't it just as simple for a girl to do the same thing for a boy? Yes. It's the principle of the matter. Why should it be that the girl is entitled to walk through the door without touching the door once? What is so bad about a girl touching a door? So in other words, despite the fact that the guy got to the door first, he has to open the door, wait for the girl to walk in first, and then close the door. So he has to open and close the door and come in last, whereas the girl can just walk right through without touching anything and be the one to enter first. How is that not female superiority? That is treating females like they are the superior gender. Plain and simple. Girls precede boys through every door except revolving doors. Boys, if you encounter a revolving door when you are walking with a girl, you should enter it first so that you may push the door. Of course, you should not push it too fast so that the girl has to leap like a gazelle to enter the revolving door you've just set spinning out of control. So we have a little exception to this rule. Revolving doors. Kind of like how it's always ladies first unless you enter a place that may be dangerous. Yeah, when getting away from danger and entering someplace safe, it's ladies first. But when entering a place that may be dangerous, the rule no longer applies. It's now men first to be the guinea pig to see if it's safe, and then ladies first is back on. But anyway, I just have to say, why is this the rule? Why couldn't it be that the woman enters first so she can push the revolving door for the boy? Boys graciously give up their seats on buses, trains, etc. when all the seats are taken, and a girl is forced to stand. That reminds me of what happened during my meeting there. So it doesn't matter that the boy was on time and the girl was late. Apparently first come, first serve doesn't apply here. I guess men are lesser people, so they have to give up their seats to the superior sex, right? Simply say, "Excuse me, please take my seat." He should also offer to assist with her luggage. What happened to this mentality that a woman doesn't need a man for anything, that she can be independent, she can do stuff for herself? Especially if she's obviously attempting to heave her heavy Pullman suitcase onto the awkwardly placed luggage rack. Girls, of course, should immediately thank the boy for his kindness. Well, at least she gave us that much. Again, the same principle applies to when the elderly, the infirm, the obviously frail, or the pregnant are standing, no matter your or their gender. Okay, now that one I agree with. I mean, that one makes sense. But if it's a girl who's perfectly capable of doing stuff for herself, or, if she's perfectly capable of standing, then let her stand. I don't expect somebody to give up their seat for me if I came in late. So why should women be entitled to that extra special treatment? I just don't get this. It is very nice for a boy to help a girl into her coat. So we have to help them get dressed now? Why stop there? While you're at it, why don't you just have us wipe a girl's ass after she takes a shit? Just stand behind her and hold the coat by her shoulders while she puts her arms into it. There is no need, however, for you to button it up for her. Oh, really? Wow, how generous of you. What about our coats? I guess we're supposed to put on our coat and also put on her coat? That isn't fair. Please try to explain to me how that's fair. You really can't. I'm sorry, but you just can't. In a bar, if there is no table service, it's nice for the boys to fetch the drinks. Yeah, fetch. Just like a dog. This is subservient behavior. The male has to fetch the food and drinks while the girl just gets to sit there. It's usually men who do backbreaking work on their feet all day, like doing construction work, coal mining, landscaping, and so on. It makes more sense, if anything, for the male to be seated. I've never seen a woman get up and get the food for a guy while the guy sits down. Why not? Is that so wrong? That's being nice, right? But why is it the guy's responsibility to do that? But to be fair, why can't the person closest to the food and drinks be the one to get it? And that could be the male or the female, depending on the situation. Very old-fashioned, polite boys sometimes order for a girl in a restaurant. Oh yeah, because, as we know, women can't speak for themselves. They need a man to do that. I mean, they can order their own food. I mean, it says here that we would have to ask them anyway, but what's the point of us speaking for the woman? I mean, if the woman knows what she wants, she can order it herself. She can tell the waiter or waitress exactly what she wants directly. And she can completely cut out the middleman. What's the point of the girl telling the guy what she wants and then the guy relaying that to the waiter when the girl knows what she wants and can tell the waiter right away what it is that she wants? Because that sounds more efficient to me. If a boy has asked a girl out on a date, he should pay. This is just the polite thing to do. If for some reason the girl has done the asking, then the responsibility of paying is hers. I love how they say, if for some reason the girl asked the boy. Yeah, if the girl was crazy enough to ask the boy out, then she would pay. Okay, so the person who asked is the one who pays. But it's the boy who asks. Sure, the girl could ask the boy out, but how often does that happen? They go on to say that it's nicer to alternate than for both people to go for their wallets. Why? What's wrong with them paying for their own dinner or movie? When you are taking seats at a theater, concert hall, movie theater, church, lecture hall, etc., the girl precedes the boy into the row of seats. In a restaurant, when the maitre d' is leading you to your table, the girl precedes the boy. Yeah, and it would be sexist if the boy precedes the girl. It's amazing how all these little rules are considered to be polite, but would be completely sexist if the genders were reversed. When a girl is taking a seat at a table, the boy pulls out the chair for her. They go on to talk about how this has to be done correctly and that it could be disastrous if done incorrectly. So they're talking about how guys can mess up something that they shouldn't have to be doing in the first place. They say that they heard embarrassing stories about the chairs being yanked completely out from their poor dates. Yes, it's the guy's fault for being nice and pulling the chair out, not the girl's fault for not looking where she's sitting. You know, to make all this easier, how about girls pull out their own chair? That way you can avoid all this mess. All these little rules for etiquette involve a boy doing something nice for the girl, paying for her, or the girl being ahead of the boy. Does this not strike anybody as being sexist? Women should have to earn respect just like everybody else. They shouldn't just automatically get respect for the simple fact that they are female. The bottom line is that it's considered polite to do something nice for a woman just because she's female. But it's sexist if a woman did something nice for a man simply because he's male.